right. All right. Welcome, folks. I think we're just getting folks trickling in. So we want to just welcome you. Thank you. Thank you. I see quite a few folks logging in, wherever you may be, whether you're at home or traveling or what have you. Awesome. Thank you. Excellent. So I see folks coming in. If you're getting your audio set up, feel free in this interim time, before we kick off our webinar, just put on the chat where you're logging in from. Give shout outs to wherever you're logging in from if you can. The chat bar is usually found on the very bottom of the Zoom webinar platform. So love to give you shout outs, especially wherever you're coming from. And we want to thank you too for choosing to be with us tonight. And again, excited that we're already in the month of nearing towards the end of 2023 and starting to look forward to 2024. And awesome, I see quite a few folks already chatting. So let's see here. We've got folks from Kentucky. So shout outs to Kentucky. We've got Houston, Texas. We've got, looks like New York, Saratoga Springs. Okay. All right. Evening from Guilford, Maine. All right. Got more folks from Kentucky, Colorado, Yuma, Colorado. Awesome. We've got Florida. Beautiful. Excellent. And we got folks from Ohio, Texas. All right. We got people from all over. So this is really cool. Always fun to have folks just chiming in wherever they may be, and excited to have you all join us for this webinar piece, community webinar piece. And so this actually will conclude our fall webinar series, and we'll be kicking off our winter webinar series starting next month. And so we're excited about that. And so more information to come, if you will, some more announcements. But I think we're going to give it another minute or two to make sure that folks are trickling in. And also wanted to share a couple of announcements too. And I'm getting my screen prepared for a screen share. And excellent. So let me go ahead and start preparing our screen share. But for those that are just logging in, again, feel free to just put out where you're logging in from. Just put it on the chat window, and a couple of housekeeping items too that I'll share really quickly. Any questions that you may have in today's webinar, feel free to put it in the Q&A section, and any comments that you may have, feel free to put that in the chat section. We'll do our very best to answer all your questions, and also comment to any of your comments too in the chat. All right. Well, let me go ahead and kick off a couple of announcements. But for those who don't know me or anything like that, I'd just like to share a quick intro. My name is Ruben Caputo, and I'll be moderating today's session. And I work for the ViewSonic organization as the marketing manager for education. So pleasure to meet you all. And you'll see me going through the community platform heavily today. So I'll navigate you through that process so that we can share, learn, and at the end of the day, we have 1 hour that will fly by quickly. And we want to equip you with as much resources as possible so that way you can communicate and continue the dialogue discussion with us, as well as other community members too. And our presenter, I'll introduce her very shortly. As you can see there in the screen there, she'll go ahead and share a very interesting topic that we've got prepared for you all. And again, all of these topics, we actually collect your thoughts, inputs, and so we build off of that. So we definitely want to hear from everyone in terms of what it is that you would like to learn more of when it comes to myViewBoard. Excellent. So I think what I'll do is share my screen and kind of give everybody a quick little announcement, and then we'll go into intro for our presenter and then give it away for our presentation for today's webinar. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And yes, that was a great question too. Regarding today's webinar, everything will be recorded. We will do a follow-up email to everybody that has attended, as well as post this in our community platform, which I'll navigate to as well. So that way you can have a point of reference. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to share a couple of housekeeping items. And again, sit back, You don't need to necessarily take studious notes here. The great thing about this is that we're here to deliver some new information to you all. Perhaps maybe this is a repeat and this is a refresher, or if this is your first time, it doesn't matter. We'd like to approach everybody in different levels of learning, and we'll recap all of these notes and recordings, and we'll also put this into the chat. So sit back wherever you're listening to or getting a chance to view this. We'll navigate you all so that way you don't have to take any notes or stumble upon that. Okay, so sharing my screen here, we've got our ViewSonic Educator Community webpage, if you will. And so the first thing you'll see is obviously a big banner with a lot of sliding motion there, and it's going to give you insight to different sweepstakes, programs, promotional information, things to stay informed and in touch with if this is something that you would like to pursue more of. So highly recommend to take a look at that. Currently, as you may all see or may not see, I am wearing one of my ugly sweaters because I'm in that festive mood, if you will. So I don't know if anybody can see that, but if you can read that, it says, "I believe," and there's a picture of Bigfoot with a Santa hat there. So, so if you can see that there, it's to kick off our sweepstakes that we just launched. And so we're excited about just getting into the festive mood. And for those that are already in that mode, feel free to share that with us. At the end of the day, we're counting down as we get near towards the holiday time. And I know everybody is well deserving of a break. And so we're excited about that. So please share with us perhaps thoughts, plans, favorite holiday movies, recipes, ugly sweater pictures, what have you. I would love to hear from you. Now, having said all that, if you scroll down, for those who have not gained access to a free myViewBoard account, it's going to be found here, and I'll put this in the chat so you can reference after the fact. But essentially, here is where you can sign up for your free myViewBoard account, and this is where our community platform resides. So below here is going to be a lot of value props of what our community does. And so I'll navigate you a little bit more closer to what the platform looks like so that everybody has visibility about it. And if I were to click here where it says sign up and join the community, it will take you to a myViewBoard sign up page. And so for those that have, a Microsoft account, Google account, Apple account, there are a couple of single sign-on options. And if you don't have any of these and you'd like to use a different email address, you can. So those options are made available. But for the sake of this example, I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my Microsoft account. And if you have single sign-on, for those that know what single sign-on is, it's a lot faster, prompt. It gets you there very quickly. And you're going to see your account signed on the upper right. And then here, there's going to be a community tile. So there's a couple of tiles to take reference on. And here on the community tile, you'll click through and it'll take you to our community platform. So this platform is all centered around a global community, as ViewSonic is a global organization. So with that being said, I won't take too much time to navigate you through the navigation tree on the left because I don't want to take too much time from what we've got in store for you. But I'm going to navigate you towards the form under the USA and Canada. So a good question got popped up. And where do we find the recordings? Well, this is an option and avenue to find the past webinar recordings. And at the very top, you'll see under our events, you'll see event/webinars. And so today's webinar, today's December the 5th. If I were to click here, it's going to take me to the announcement that was posted to let everybody know where to RSVP. And here, ultimately, under where it says, what are your thoughts? This is where you get to leave comments. Now, for those that know me, I am a big gift giver. So today's webinar, I am going to give away $25 Amazon gift card just for commenting and getting a chance to win during a randomizing of the selection. So essentially, for those that comment, you'll get a chance and enroll into a randomizer, if you will, which I will pick from a list of names that have commented, and there will be one lucky winner to win a $25 Amazon gift card. Now, if we hit a benchmark of 10 posts, then I'll open it up to two $25 Amazon gift cards to increase the chances for anyone to win. So I will put this in the chat so that folks can reference it during the presentation. And really what I'm asking here is, what are your thoughts of today's webinar? What is it that you'd like to see more of? Or what is it that you liked about the webinar? So things of that nature so that we can start having those dialogue discussions and learn about a new platform, quite honestly. So again, we're excited to have you. And so this is where we'd love for you to engage with us under this form, if you will. Now, having said all that, this will be the same place after our recording is done and uploaded. You'll get a chance to actually reference here, and you can take a look at the recording in case you wanted to reflect back to it. Okay. All right. There was a lot there. So don't worry for those that just joined us. I will put this in the chat so that you can reference. And again, don't want to take away from what we've got in store for you, and also want to give ample enough time for your Q&As. So I'm going to stop share here, and I'm going to introduce our amazing PM, which is our Associate Product Manager, Miss Haley Hunt, who's going to talk about how we are going to increase student engagement with myViewBoard tools. So please put your emoticon hand claps together under the chat, and please give a warm welcome to Miss Haley Hunt. Haley, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ruben. Hi, everyone. My name is Haley, just as Ruben just mentioned. And yes, you are in our fall webinar series. Don't get confused by the Christmas decorations. It's been fun seeing all of the places that you all live. I do live in sunny Southern California, so we don't get much winter here. So as soon as Thanksgiving's over, I'm directly in the winter spirit. So I have done so already with my virtual classroom, decorated it, had a lot of fun going through the different icons and adding it here. And just like Ruben, I am also wearing a very ugly Christmas sweater as well. So just trying to keep in the spirit, especially just we're, getting close to that holiday season. So it's very fun to have all of you here with me today, especially during a very busy time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. A few things that I want to note here is that this is going to be an introduction to Whiteboard. If you haven't joined us in some of the previous webinars, we have gone through some step-by-steps about how to get acquainted with the myViewBoard software. So with that being said, in the past, we've looked at some of the basic annotation tools, as well as with the shapes and different images that you can add. But today we're going to go a little bit deeper, talk about how you can use the tools to engage with your students. So I've divided it into a brief introduction to the tools. So if you weren't able to join us in the past webinars, I will do a brief overview just so you feel comfortable looking at everything that myViewBoard Whiteboard has to offer. And then we're going to start to build on those skills, and we're going to do practice with lesson planning. And of course, if you have joined in the past webinars, you know that I like to end it with a small game time. And I think this is a great way to kind of seal the information that we've learned today. And also, hopefully, it's a good idea of ways so you can also interact with your students day in and day out. And then, of course, we'll go and end with our educator community giveaway. So if you have any questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A box in Zoom. And this will allow us to be able to answer your questions as soon as possible. So one other thing before I get started, I'm going to move us, we've already looked at community. I'm going to move us over to a brief introduction to tools. And now at this time, you probably will have your first poll question, and that is going to be, what grade do you teach? Now, myViewBoard Whiteboard is a very fantastic tool available to our educators. As Ruben mentioned earlier, this is part of a free account. So this is available to you already now. So if you're unfamiliar with Whiteboard, it has many annotation tools that allow you to write down different facts and lessons, but you can also pre-plan ahead. So what you're going to notice here is I'm sharing my screen on a computer. I do not have a view board in my house. It would be great if I did, but I don't think I could get it up the stairs. So that is what I'm showing you today. I am actually able to use the myViewBoard whiteboard software on my computer. And all this is possible because this software is cross-device compatible. That means that I can go home at the end of the day or even in the office and I can work on my Windows Surface Pro and I can create these presentations. Then when I'm in the office or in front of a view board, I can go ahead and bring it up directly. So all this is possible because we have cloud binding available. So if you're unfamiliar, I'm going to go ahead and use our annotation tool. I'm going to use the laser pen, and I'm going to be using this throughout the presentation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw an arrow down to this box at the bottom. This is what we call the magic box. Some people refer to it as an Amazon package. Some people refer to it as Mary Poppins bag. Really, the whole thing is whatever makes sense to you. The idea here is that this tool has many features available into it. And one of the things that I want to show you quickly before we get into too much of the presentation is showing you how I'm able to access my files across all devices. And that's through this cloud storage. So I'm actually able to bind my cloud storage drives of choice directly into my myViewBoard whiteboard. For example, I use OneDrive for Business, but you can also use Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. And all of your files are going to be available. So this is all made possible by signing in. So once you make your myViewBoard account, always make sure that you go down to the bottom right-hand corner where I'm pointing with this arrow. There's a little image of a person. That is where you're going to log in. Of course, you can use your single sign-on with Microsoft, Apple, or Google, or you can also use a QR code. So by logging in, not only are you being able to access your cloud drives, but you'll also have access to more of the great tools I'll be showing you today. So I urge you always log in because you can always save to using this file folder down here. So moving on, I'm also going to be using lots of different tools. So I'll try to walk you through and demonstrate how I'll be using them. So this is going to be a little bit more of an advanced webinar. Again, we're building off in the webinar series. So just as a refresher, if you weren't able to join us, I am using this on my Windows Surface Pro. So one thing you're going to note down here at the bottom of the main tool that may be different from your view board or what device you're using, especially using an iPad, for example, you will not have access to this Windows feature down here. This is going to be a Windows exclusive feature, but that's one thing that you'll notice that's maybe a little different than what you're used to. But one thing I'm also going to show you is that I am going to be using a mouse for many of my gestures here. Of course, if you're using ViewBoard in your classrooms, you would still be able to use the multi-hand gesture tools to be able to navigate through the entire canvas. Of course, I'll use my mouse to click and drag. So what I'll be doing now is directing your attention to our floating toolbar that I'm pointing with this laser pen. This is going to be our great moderation tool. It's what I've already used to help advance the slides that I have presented for you right now. And so all it is, it's easy to go left and right, to go back and forth. One thing I will want to point out, just for your clarification, you'll notice that we have these left and right facing arrows, but we do also have another set of left and right facing arrows on what we call the main toolbar down at the bottom of my screen. These are also left and right facing arrows, but these operate in a different capacity. These are going to be your undo and redo buttons. So that's just something to be aware of. There are different arrows, so just be clear with how you are mentioning, especially if you're teaching other teachers how to use the software. Just knowing that these tools operate in different capacities is also very helpful. So with that, let's look at this overview. So I've already pointed out the sign in and sign out features available directly in this bottom corner here that's pointing at this little person. So always make sure you're logged in. A great way to know if you are logged in is in my upper corner here where I'm pointing with the yellow arrow. You'll see your ViewBoard account name. So I'm signed in here, and this is where you're going to have all of your whiteboard session information. So by clicking on the icon here, I'll be able to access my board's unique URL, a unique QR code as well. And this is going to be something that I'll show later on in our presentation today, but this is one of the tools that's going to allow you to have students interact. This is a great way for students to interact, especially for older students, 6 through 12. This is a great way to get them involved in class and answering questions. So I will be diving a little bit deeper into that. But if you don't have those older students, I also have great interactive activities for those younger students as well. So as a reminder, we call this toolbar down at the bottom the floating toolbar. And the reason why it's called floating is because one thing you'll notice are these 4 arrows pointing left, right, up, and down. This is actually going to allow me to move the floating toolbar wherever I want. So this is something that you have a little bit more freedom to move around depending on which content you have shown on your screen. But down at the very bottom is the main toolbar. This is where we're going to be looking at most of our tools today. There also is an arrow, but this doesn't allow me to place the main toolbar wherever. It does need to dock either in the left or right areas. You can also do it at the very top or down at the bottom. I prefer it at the bottom. It's really a personal preference, but just know you can always move it around and customize it for yourself. One other thing that I will note is we have background management and a tool right here for background management. That's how I'm able to change the colors of the panel. And one other tool that I want to notice before we go in any further is one that I'll be using frequently in this presentation, and that is going to be the hand icon. Now, the hand icon is going to activate what we call infinite canvas. So myViewBoard Whiteboard actually has the ability to have an infinite canvas space available. What that means is that I would be able to zoom in and out and left and right across the canvas. That's going to allow me to use the entire screen real estate to our benefit. So to demonstrate how this will work, I'm going to use my mouse and I'm going to click on the hand. So one thing to note is if you're using this on a view board, you'll always want to make sure that you tap on the icon of your choice and you can start moving with your fingers. You can also use a pinch in and pinch out movement and gestures to actually move and zoom in and out on the panel. But for me, I'm going to use my mouse, which will allow me to use my scroll wheel for that zooming in instead. So now that I have the hand selected, to demonstrate how the infinite canvas works, all I will do is click and drag. Now you can see I'm already starting to move around the canvas and move around. Now I'll zoom in using my mouse here. One of the great advantages of this is actually being able to zoom in for those students in the back of the classroom so that they can read the entire contents of your lesson. Another thing is that this is great for focusing attention on areas in your lesson that you prefer. So what you'll notice here is infinite canvas, you have the potential for students to interact with the board, and then you might get lost in this endless blue sea that I have here. One of the great features of all of these tools in the main toolbar is a double click feature. So by clicking on the hand one more time, it's going to access a map. So by clicking on this, it's going to open up the map, and now you'll see I have this box here that is going to allow me to zoom around and find wherever I left off. So you can see we are zoomed in 210%. I can move around and find what I need to. But let's say you end up all the way over here and you want to reset your lesson for the next group. Well, instead of having to find your way, what you can do is use this circle with an arrow, and this is going to be our reset button. Resetting will bring us directly back to how we had it originally. So that is a great tip, especially if you have young students who are wanting to engage with the board. You never have to worry about losing your content or getting lost in the infinite canvas. You can always find your way back. So let's go ahead and move on to some of the other tools. Now, I won't be going into depth on all of these tools here. This is more of an awareness portion. I will demonstrate some more throw and pop quiz features, but these are some great items to use for formative assessments in your classroom. And this is where I was talking about, this is a great idea for those older students, the ability to interact directly with the board. And this is where the QR code is going to come in handy, or even that URL link. So if students are using one-to-one devices, they would actually be able to take a picture of the QR code or put in your URL directly. And again, this is all available in your whiteboard session information. By doing so, you would be able to allow students to start to use Throw. Now, to demonstrate where this is available, I will go ahead and point your direction back to that Amazon package, Mary Poppins purse, but more officially, Magic Box. And in Magic Box, I will click in, and you're going to notice a few great tools in the far right-hand section. One of those is going to be a paper airplane shape. Now, this is going to be your Throw. One thing that you can think about this, and I'll have a video to demonstrate how this is going to look. This is a way that students can engage directly with the lesson, and they can share images or videos directly to the board. So by doing so, I would be able to ask students to send something that they really love. So in that case, it might be an image of a pet. If in that case, they would send the images to the screen, and you would receive a notification where this bell icon is at the top of my screen here. There, you would be able to decide if you want to access those thrown images or even put their images directly on the canvas. It's a very fun way to get students involved and see whose pet is the cutest. That is one of the things that I heard of it being used recently as, and I thought that was a great idea. Another one is going to be Pop Quiz. Pop Quiz is another tool, again, available in the Magic Box. By clicking on the Magic Box, you're going to see these shooting stars, you could say. So there's going to be red, A, B, C, and D, and this is going to access Pop Quiz. This is another way for students to be involved and interact with the Canvas. Again, I have a video and demonstration of how this could actually be interacted with. But the idea here is, as a teacher, you could put an exit question here, write this down, and have students reply directly. So it's a fun way to get students involved or answer questions right on a drop of the hat. But this is going to be something that will allow them to do free form, text, or even handwritten answers. They could even draw if that's something that you would prefer. So all of this is going to be accessible directly here. So one other thing is there are polls available as well. Again, if you're interested in that, it will be available in the Magic Box. For the purposes of today's lesson, I will not be doing a deep dive on that right now. However, if this is something you're interested in, especially for differentiated learning, we do have a past webinar that you can also access by going to our community and looking at past webinars. So with that, let's go ahead and look at one of the activities that I have put together today. So what I have here is a complete the word activity. So this one is specifically designed for younger students, especially those who are learning to spell for the first time, or even those who are trying to work on reading or sounding out words as well. So what I have here is a couple of tools, and then what I'm going to do is I will demonstrate how this activity will work. We'll take a quick break right after, and then I will show you how to build out something similar for your classes. So first of all, what I'll do is I'm going to go down to the main toolbar. And something that you're going to notice is there is a dotted box with a blue arrow. This is going to be your select tool. So this is different than the infinite canvas. Again, if I were to click on the infinite canvas, one thing you'll notice is that all of the contents on the screen move around. I can also zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and reset back to where I want to be. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit so we can see complete the word. This is a great tool to move around. However, this is not going to move any individual objects. To be able to move and interact with objects and words, or even annotations on the screen, you do need to go down to this dotted box with the blue arrow and use the select tool. So by pressing on the select tool, I will now be able to start interacting with the pieces on our canvas. So in this activity, I have already set up some different sounds available and different spellings as well. The idea here is to allow students to start creating different words. So you can either have students come up one by one and they can start spelling however they want, or you can focus on certain sounds. And in this case, maybe you want to focus directly on the A vowel. So for this instance, what I can do, I'll demonstrate how this can work. I would go over to the word here and I would start dragging. So we have hat, bat, and cat. Now we want to bring up another student. Well, instead of having to go one by one and delete, there is a quick and easy way, and that is going to be using our eraser tool at the bottom. So again, earlier I mentioned that there is always a double tap feature on all of the main toolbars features. So by clicking on the eraser, I have three default, I have an eraser and two different trash cans. By clicking on it again, I have access to even more options. So to demonstrate how we can quickly clear this, I'm going to use the trash can. Now the trash can and the clear all, you may call it, as you can see in this quick cheat sheet right here, by clicking on that, it's going to delete any object that's not locked or is not an infinite copy. So by doing this, it's going to just release the ATs that we've added to the B and the C. So to demonstrate, now we can start over. So that is one quick way, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate that one more time. And also I will demonstrate some other things with the eraser tool as well. So let's say we have students come up to the board and you're looking at it and you start annotating. So you give a check, 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 just to give some encouragement to the students, make sure they feel involved and that they're doing the right thing here. So now I've included annotation. Maybe I want a student to instead get rid of the check mark and draw a picture of a hat. So what I could do is I could go back to the eraser. I could click on the eraser one more time, and I could instead use this clear all strokes trash can. So what this is going to do is that it's going to keep all of the objects, but it's only going to erase the annotation. So to show how this would work, I'll go ahead and do clear all strokes. Now you can do this and apply it to all the pages. So if you've gone the entire lesson just demonstrating on your own and you want to clear it for a next group of students, you can do that to all pages. But for this case, I'll just keep it to this page. So by clicking on this page, the check marks have been removed. So I'll demonstrate that one more time. By using the undo button, I can go to the eraser. And this time, let's say I want to remove our ATs and the check marks at the same time. So I'll click on the eraser, and this time I will do clear all. And now we're at a fresh start. So that's a great helpful tool to make it quicker. You don't have to worry about deleting one by one, and hopefully it frees up some time to have more students get involved. So again, there are many tools that I've used here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to show you how I created this. So with that, let's go ahead and take a next break, and I believe there will be another poll question for you. Awesome. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to answer that poll question. Let's get looking at how I created this complete the word. Now, this can also be used for more complex lessons as well and more complex activities. But I thought this would be a great use case and a great way for all of us to get comfortable with what we're going to be looking at right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the infinite canvas to go ahead and spread this over to the side. And we're going to use this as a guide, and we're going to try to copy everything we have here. So there's a couple of tools that I've already used, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate some of them. But let me go ahead and put the select tool on. One thing you're going to notice with the select tool is by clicking on an object, you have this separate menu that appears. We internally call this the adorning menu. If you use the knowledge base that is available to all of you through myviewboard.com. Knowledge base will also call this the adorning menu, and there's more information available on that as well. But this menu has many different other features and icons. So you don't need to worry about all of these here. I'm just going to demonstrate a few right now. So the way that I was able to just drag and drop each of these parts of the words was by using something called infinite copy or drag to copy, in whatever one makes sense to you. So let's go ahead and use drag to copy, and this is going to make infinite copies. So by making sure that this is enabled, now I'm able to bring this down. So to demonstrate how this would look if we didn't use it, there are a couple different ways you could do it. So let me go ahead and remove the object. To do so, I will just click directly on this icon here, and now it's gone. So a few ways that you could do this and have students interact with the board is you could keep it as is, and you could have students directly drag down. Oh, I didn't delete the infinite copy. We must have one right here. Yep. So now I can move this and you'll see that it disappears from our box. But maybe you want to have a key available so you can start to drag instead of having to recopy every time. Now, another option available to you would be to select the object, make sure the adorning menu pops up, and now you can use the regular copy. By pressing copy, the objects have been copied to my clipboard. The clipboard, if you didn't know, is available on the floating toolbar where I am pointing with this yellow arrow. It's going to be that brown clipboard with the blue note in front of it down here. So by pressing on it, it's going to go ahead and copy whatever I have saved to the clipboard onto the canvas. So now it's copied directly in the same spot. I want to make sure I have select available, and now I can move it. You can see though that when I go back to the word, we're back to removing it from our table. So I want to keep it in the key. So what I'll do is put it back to infinite canvas. The drag to copy. So now I have the ability to access all of these and move it around. That's one way to do it. Another way you can notice is I was able to use the trash can without deleting any of these colorful boxes that I have here. And the way that I was able to do it was through two methods. One, through grouping, and two, by locking. So to demonstrate, let's go ahead and create our own boxes. So what you can do is I'm using the shape tool here. I'm going to create a rectangle. What I can do is I can either choose to color the rectangle when I create the shape by pressing or double clicking on the shape icon and choosing the paint bucket. Or another way I could do it is through accessing the adorning menu. So I can click on the shape, and now that I have the shape available, the adorning menu will be available here as well. So I've moved it over just because I have my Zoom window up and I want to be able to see it better. But now you can also click on the paint bucket. So something you'll notice in Windows is you do have the eyedropper tool. So you can get the perfect shade, or you can use the preset default colors, or you can even just move around. So let's make this purplish blue color, and I will press OK. And now we have a shape with that color. So what I'm going to do is I am going to copy it. I'm going to paste. I'm going to bring this down, and then I'm going to paste one more time. Now I have my three rectangles here. What I can do now is I can change the colors of the other ones. So let's do this fun green, and let's go ahead and click on this shape, and let's do, how about another pink? So now I have my colors, and you'll notice that these are going to be able to move around freely. I don't want these shapes to be any hindrance on students to actually interact with the board. So what I can do is I can take the select tool and I can either go one by one and I can lock it, or I can use the select tool and drag. Now this is creating a lasso tool. One of the things that I really like to do is to group objects. Again, this is going to be in the third row underneath the trash can, and this is going to group the objects. Now they're going to work as a unit. So if I were to click anywhere here, they'll all move together. This is just an editing thing that I prefer. You can do it however you like, But one thing that I really like about now that I've grouped the images is that if I go to text and I begin writing different words, so let's go ahead and copy the H. Instead of having to do new text boxes every time, I can just add a couple spaces in between here. And what I'll do is, let's make sure that there's no color behind them. I'm going to bold it and I'm going to increase the text size. Let's try, that's too big. Let's try 44. So now what I can do is, these are all in the same text box. I can move them around. I can do this, and that would be much quicker. What I did to create this text box on the left was I did it individually. But this is a great way to save time when you're creating objects, because what I can do again is I can go back to the lasso tool. I can group this entire object together and I can lock it. So now there's no way that I would accidentally move anything. Now, of course, you can change the font and the size. It's really up to you, but my purpose here is to show you quick and easy ways that you can copy what I've done here. If you are interested in how I built this directly, what I did here, let me go ahead and move the infinite canvas over. What I did here was, in this case, I'll go ahead and lasso this to show you what I've done. We're going to delete these. Let's do the lasso one more time. What I did was I locked this entire object, and let me go ahead and ungroup to show you a few things. I also created different groups here. What I did was I did an individual text box for each one, and this was just my preference for making the same shape and alignment that I wanted, but this does take a little bit more time. It's really up to you. So either of those tools is going to be available for you to create this really fun and interactive activity for your students. This can also be used for kind of those magnet poetry. You can move different parts of the word around. This is great for spelling or even counting activities. Using all of these tools together really creates a fun lesson for the students. I'd be really interested to see anything that you are willing to create. And if you want to post about it in the community, I would love to see all of your fun ideas. So that's one of the tools that we can have. Now, I want to get through a couple of videos here. Now, I want to just show you quick videos so that you can see how these are going to actually work within a class. So I've already worked with our panelists here to create a copy of how this could be working in your class. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate how this is going to work, and I'll go ahead and narrate as it goes. So what I'm doing here is I have already received different images from people that I've given the code to. And what they did was they threw these images from either their computer libraries or their folders, and I was able to put it. So I'm going to the magic box, I'm hitting the paper airplane, and as you can see, I'm going to pause it here. You can see the participants' names and a preview of what the thrown image or video will look like. So you as a teacher have the complete ability to hide this from students or not even put any of their thrown contents on the screen. It's really up to you. But this is a great way for students to interact with the lesson by either showing off their personalities or even their interest in class as well. Or even if you have an assignment where you want a student to go ahead, take a picture of their worksheet that they've created, and then you can go through it live. So this could be great for doing timed math worksheets and putting on the board at the end and working with the students to see what numbers they got. It could be great for group work. Another great thing could be for creative writing. So if you want students to write poems, you could have them write the poems on a piece of paper, take a picture, send it to the panel, and then you would be able to annotate directly, provide feedback. There's lots of different options that this provides. So again, all it will do is add the image, and now I can add it directly to the canvas and I can get started with my lesson. So let's look at it one more time. So just like any other image, I would be able to move it directly on the canvas. So that would be throw. And as a reminder, that is going to be available in Magic Box. Clicking Magic Box, going to the throw icon, that's how you will access any of the thrown content. Now, sharing with the students, I do have another slide on that, but as a reminder, you will go to your session name and your students will either log into myviewboard.com with your board's Canvas name, or they can scan the QR code. Another one that I showed already is pop quiz. So because I don't have the panel, my handwriting is going to be very poor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show off a demonstration of how this could work with your students. So what I'm doing again here is going to the magic box. And apologies if there's a delay, I'll run through this a couple of times. So here I'm writing favorite subject. Again, this was done with my mouse, not the best handwriting. Yours will be much better. And this is an example of what the student view would be. So now all of my colleagues are starting to answer, and they've gone to myviewboard.com, used my session name, and now they're providing their answers. You can either choose to hide the answers from everyone in the class and make it only known to you, or you can show everyone at the same time. And of course, all of the students would have their names viewable as well, so you know who answered. One of the other things that you saw in the video, and I'll show it one more time, is you can save answers as well. So let's take another look. I would go to Magic Box. I would write my question in the pop quiz. Now, as I'm doing this, I will make sure that the students in the class have the ability to access my board through myviewboard.com, sign in, and then be able to answer right on the spot. So the next view you're going to see here is going to be that student view. Here's the pop quiz, and this is how they will answer. So this is going to be especially helpful for those that are in the one-to-one devices in the classes who are going to respond. So now I'm writing my answer here. Fun fact, my favorite subject is not actually math. It's actually probably English, but I don't know why I decided to go with that answer. Here, all the answers are going in here. And now I have the ability to hide or show answers, and I can save it later. So this is a great way to have, like I said, exit tickets or even a pop quiz just to make sure you can check for understanding, and then also help with differentiated learning by saving that data later. So this is another great way to get students interacted with the board. These are all great tools. Again, for more information, this is available on myviewboard.com in the resources section in Knowledge Base, and it will show you a step-by-step. But again, this is an example of how you would get started. This is a great way to either use the URL or the companion app to scan the QR code, really whatever works for your students. But if you are looking for a little more interactivity, get students engaged, this is a great tool. So with that, let's take another brief break. I think that there will be another poll question, but now I want to get into game time before we do that fun community raffle. So go ahead and take a moment to answer the poll question. I'm also looking through the chat right now. Let me see if there's any quick questions I can help answer. Let's see, one question that came across right now. Will they have access to lock or unlock tools when interacting from the device? That is actually a great question. And before we get into the game, let me go ahead and go back to show you some of the items in the adorning menu. So let me go ahead and actually go to my Canvas navigation here. So I'm going to click on this page. One thing to note is there is another tool in the floating toolbar. It's going to be this green panel, and that's going to be the prepare and presentation modes toggle. So right now we're in prepare mode, so that's why you can see my session ID and why you can see the exit buttons at the top. What you can do is go ahead and navigate by clicking on this button. It will put it into present mode. Now you can see all of those extraneous details are removed, and now I can interact with the panel without interfering. So students would come up and be able to access. And as you can see from this image, the adorning tools are very limited. So students shouldn't have any effect on any of the locked objects. And so you would be able to make sure that your your lesson is in safe hands basically here. So to go back, I'm going to go ahead and click on the prepare and present. As you'll see, it changed icons. So just always remember it's on the floating toolbar next to the 4 arrows. So I'm going to go back to my prepare mode just because that's my preference. And now let's go ahead and get into the game. But if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat in the Q&A and we'll be able to help you there. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and play this game. So some of the things that I did to create this game was using the adorning menu. And this is a very fun activity. I'm using my select tool to move my Finch around, but I also have things like the dice from Magic Box. And I'm also going to use this spinning wheel icon. It looks like there was another chat message about the half images. Now, I'm assuming that you're referencing these orange mirrors. So what this first one's going to mirror an object and the other one will flip an object. So that's just if I wanted to, for example, our Finch is a great example. I could either flip him either way. And as you can see, it just changes the orientation of the image. So that's just something that you can use for creation, but not necessary for any interaction with your students. So they don't need to worry about that. So with that, let's go ahead and I'm gonna ask a few questions. Let's try to get through this game quickly so we have enough time for our fun raffle. So let's get started. First question, can you save files to Google Drive? Yes or no? Now go ahead and put your answers in the chat. I will wait for the correct answer and then I will go ahead and either roll the dice or spin the wheel. Yeah, perfect. Yes. So like I said, there are many different ways that you can save items. One of those can be Google Drive. I use OneDrive, but Dropbox also works. So with that, we scored 4. So let's go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Next question. True or false? You cannot change the color of a shape after it's been created. True or false? False. Yeah, so I showed you some quick ways to how you can actually change the shape and make it custom to how you want. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel using the spin icon. And another 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next question. I copied a picture on my canvas. How do I paste it? I copied a picture on my canvas. How do I paste it? Yep, clipboard. So again, the clipboard is going to be this brown clipboard icon on the floating toolbar. Let's see where, wow, 4 again. I swear this is not rigged. 2, 3, 4. All right. Next question. What is one of the adorning tools used in this game to determine how many spots to move? What is one of the tools? Spinner. Awesome. Great job. So with that, I'm going to use the spinner again, accessing the adorning menu. We're going to spin this arrow. And let's see where we land. Awesome. 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's bring the Finch home. Hopefully this is the last question. What is one new thing you learned today, if any? I'd love to see your responses. Okay, I'm seeing lots of great, infinite copy, lasso, how to make a game, more about the adorning menu, tools in the magic box, interactive games, select tool and eraser, grouping objects, spinners, lesson ideas, and QR codes. Those are all great. I'm really happy that you were able to learn a little bit. And with that, we finished the game. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Please stay put because Ruben is going to come on here, talk about the community giveaway. But if you have any other further questions, please place them in our community. We would be able to talk to you there. We'd love to see any of your lesson ideas. If you were inspired by anything in this webinar, I would love to see it. So with that, I'll pass it back over to Ruben, but thank you all so much.
Haley, thank you so much. Gosh, so much content there, so much to really learn, grow, and hopefully it wasn't too much all at once, folks. But remember, all of this will be recorded, so you have to reference. Folks, if you don't mind on the chat, please just give another round of the clapping emoticons. Thank you. Yes, I see them coming in the chat. Awesome. And wonderful job, Haley. Thank you. Folks, we are in the precipice of breaking a record. So I am going to buy some time here. We are at, I'm going to refresh my page. But this group, oh my goodness, I just refreshed my page, folks. And you all hit over 70 replies within today's session. So please give yourself a round of applause, because what you all have unlocked in the power of the collective is we will be doing 4 Amazon gift cards valued at each $25. So a total of $100 will be raffled today. And I have inputted everyone's name into my wheel of names for today's webinar. So please give yourself a round of applause. Lots of heart emoticons. You've all broke a record. So this group, by far, way to finish strong with as much activity as possible. And again, all of your replies, all of your comments, thank you. If you can respond to somebody else with, hey, similar question, or you have perhaps an answer to it, feel free to do so. This is all why we did this platform, is again, to get us dialoguing a lot closer and to also explore the many resources that we've got within the platform. All right, folks, amazing. I cannot tell you how impressed I am, and the comments are coming. So we're at 74 replies. My goodness, I wouldn't be surprised if this group hit 100, but this is a group to remember. So once again, thank you so much for the replies and your comments. We appreciate that. And I'm hearing all those dings. All those dings are sounds are like music to my ears. We're at 78 replies. So keep them coming. And again, we are going to get into position to start doing our first drawing, our first raffle. So this wheel of names is going to look very full. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So please, if you've got any comments, again, feel free to post it within the community platform. And we're happy to, again, reply to your comments. And if you want to tag one of us, feel free to do so. You'll find Haley, myself, you'll find our community manager, Tara Tibbs, as well. And you'll find our whole community of folks that you would like to interact with. Feel free to chat with them. Again, that's what this is designed for. All right, folks, so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm also going to refresh because I think we hit 79. It looks like we might have hit 80. My goodness, you all have broken a record here. And excellent. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And here we are. I've got the wheel of names. For those that have participated with us, know that once you make it into this wheel of names, you are in the system for us to potentially select yourself. So I'm going to do, again, 4 drawings today for an amazing group that has broken a record today. And this being our last webinar, what to finish with a bang. So here we go. First one, please, if I may have some drum roll emoticons in our Zoom chat, then I will begin the first drawing. So once I see some drum rolls, making sound effects there for everybody. All right, thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. All right, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Amy. All right, here we go. First drawing. Our first winner for a $25 Amazon gift card is all right. We've got our first winner. Fantastic. Congratulations. If you're with us in the Zoom, please go ahead and give us a shout out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment. Great job. There you go, Vanessa. Congrats. All right, excellent. We are going to start our second drawing. And if I may get some drum rolls again, and then I will begin. I know. Congrats, Vanessa. Awesome. Now, your name is in there again, okay? Because of all the comments that we receive, you still have another chance to add more to it. So again, folks that have replied have multiple admissions, if you will. All right, drum roll. All right, fantastic. Here we go. Drawing number 2. Oh, so close. So slow right there, so close. Awesome. So if you are the winner, please put on the chat a little celebratory emoticon if you wish. I'm just keeping count till I make sure that I capture all. All right. Excellent, excellent. All right, third drawing of the night. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Another set of drum rolls. All right, fantastic. Here we go. I like it. There you go. We got some bongos there too. Okay, fantastic. Let's go. Drawing number 3. Oh, it's right in between, but it looks like it's safe to say that Mr. Tech Ricardo, congratulations. If you're listening and you're with us, feel free to claim and say any kind of inspiring words if you like. But fantastic. We've unlocked drawing number 4. Drawing number 4. Here we go. This group, again, amazing for the amount of replies that we got today, that we've broken all sorts of records. So here we go. Reply number 4. Here we go, here we go, here we go. And it looks like it's safe to say Miss, oh, right in between the lines, but it's Abby Santiago. Congratulations, Abby. You have won a $25 Amazon gift card. Folks, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much fun we've had, honestly, with all of these webinars that we've been hosting within the community platform. This does conclude our last one for the month to close out our year. Again, there will be more that we will be producing for next year. So be on the lookout for our winter session that will be taking place starting next month. We haven't rolled out the dates yet, so just be on the lookout. We want to wish you all happy holidays from us, from our team. Safe travels if you're going out for the holidays. Get your comments in there. We will have more sweepstakes taking place if you'd like to participate and have fun with us. Again, we can't thank you enough. Honestly, this is the community that truly cares about, you know, how to advance and get your knowledge base up when it comes to learning about myViewBoard and a lot of tech tools. So we can't thank you enough from the bottom of our hearts. So thank you so much. And I want to thank the community team as well for doing a wonderful job putting all this together. All right, folks, please take care and be kind to one another and get there safely. Enjoy the break, the upcoming break. All right, everybody, take care.